Hey, greetings everybody. It is me. I have returned. I am not dead. I have just kind of been busy with something that is not Wotv. And no worries, we're going to talk about the news today and everything else. Will come in a secondary video because there's a video that I have been making since December, January-ish. I've recorded it several times at this point. And every time I record it, I think better of releasing it, but it might, in fact, be a good time to release it just because it's important to talk about. But first, let's talk about the news. So last week, we ended up getting the new version of Oldoa, and for the most part, she seems pretty damn good. Like, no overly huge complaints about her. I would say that she's generally on the better side, but it also hits kind of like, hey, there's been a lot of really good units recently, so everybody's kind of a little bogged down, a little bit tired of it, a little bit less excited, and that's kind of how I feel too. Oldoa was a character that I tried for. I wasted a bunch of my resources on it, and eventually I just called it quits because it's not really fun. And it's also just my first bad luck for characters really for a good long time. So I guess I'm just not supposed to get the villains. That's what I'm supposed to take away from all of this. Anyway, this week on JP is going to be an event week, and it's mostly all about the Bahamut trial, where we are going up against... Sorry, I didn't mean to click out of there. We're going to be going up against Bahamut from Final Fantasy 13, and the Chocobo Chick is the accessory that we are getting from this. Now, we've already gotten details about it. Basically, critical damage resistance is for... all the FF13 characters. Sorry about that. But there's also the special stuff, and it's all listed right here. Like Hope gets magic up, and Spirit, Lightning gets, some human killer on her attacks. Fang gets elemental chain, Snow gets elemental chain resistance and max HP up, and Fang gets like attack up. Those are the major bullet points to take away. There's also some resistances in there that are generally going to be pretty nice. As always, final numbers are always important to see how valuable this is and just see if it ups the performance. Fang really hasn't made too much of a splash on JP. Is what it is kind of thing. But that does make me feel like maybe this probably will also get her there to being like incredibly overpowered, but just being generally okay. Or that's not right. People don't like that word in this case. I'm going to say just like really good, but not amazing is kind of how I feel about Fang, but maybe more on that later. Otherwise, Hope is the major bonus unit. There's a ton of other bonus units. Just a huge list. I do believe that one glaring omission was the new version of Dario is not on here for some reason. At least last time I checked and just scanning here, I don't see him, which is weird because he is a fairly new character, but I guess he didn't make the cut. Vision cards include Bahamut and just the general stuff to do with the FF13 event, as well as some other VCs. So the bonus is what the bonus is, and yeah, cool, fine. That's generally good enough for this. It's an event, it's something to do for about a week. Speaking of which, we also have a story update. No title card. Those have been dropped, apparently, from the in-game news. We're no longer getting those nice pictures with hints of what's going on. I guess it's just not in the budget anymore for this game. Which, yeah, we do have to talk about that later. Veiga is the one who's getting upgraded, and there's a few other upgrades, but mostly not too terribly much. Oh boy. So I kind of want to talk about the producer letter for the month of March in a different video, but this is an interesting one. Producer's letter regarding the future plans for Guild Wars Reserve slot. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience and concern that may have caused by the reserve slot not fucking working during February. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the idea. Today, we would like to report on countermeasures for the problem that occurred at this time in the resumption of the reserve slot feature. The problem has occurred with server load becoming higher than expected due to the implementation of reserve frame function. Basically, they fucked up with that. The reserve slot beta function in May. We plan to release it as a new version. Release of the official reserve spot. We appreciate some time until that. So yeah, the reserve function was not something that was popular at all on JP, and by the sounds of it, it wasn't exactly super well looked at. And as it turns out, it was just shittily made because they were not prepared. It feels very rushed out the door. A lot of these updates that feel like they kind of are just adding something to the game usually don't end up working very well. But in this case, yeah, it's not coming back till May. And honestly, if it doesn't, good, because I hate it. Most players just don't like it. And get rid of it. If you want to do 5-on-5, just do 5-on-5. No matter how crazy and stupid it is. If it's really causing server issues and you can't fix that, then just don't release it. Don't plan on releasing it. Just go back to the way it was and keep it that way, because generally everybody was pretty okay with it. All right, and last but not least, we're going to talk about the Vision card, and we're going to talk about Globals Week ever so briefly, because I need to make a different video after this one. So, this new job is for great swords, bows, staff, including Black Mage, which is basically the new Old Doa's version, and books. So yes, as for the VC, what you will be getting off of it for the party, maximum HP increase, magic damage reduction as range attack becomes wider, elemental chain resistance, for quest only, increase critical damage. Vision Mastery will give 5% magic power up, as well as magic damage upper limit cap increased by 500 for quest only. As for the individual effect, basically you're getting max HP up and CT down disabled, so it's a pretty damn good vision card. But more than that, if you read between the lines of this actual vision card, this vision card is a must get for anybody who actually cares about like quest stuff where max damage counts, because this is a actual damage limit up that is just permanent, provided that you get the VC and max the VC. Which, sure, all right, it's not a limited time VC, which means that you can get it later. That's all well and good, but holo VCs, I generally just don't like this stuff. Yeah, it's optional, but it's just more and more crap that's forcing people into going into this holo VC system. I guess it is what people have signed up for, but I really don't like it. I will admit that the VC is essential for a certain group of people. As for everybody else, it's fine. I mean, it has some nice features on it for sure. Elemental chain resistance. I think I mentioned that for Max, but just in case I didn't. It's got some neat stuff on it, like permanently removing CT down on whichever unit has this equipped is very valuable, and you can put this on certain units and it will look pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, it's a good VC, but it's definitely in feeling a little bit like, hey, do you enjoy playing guild or like quest-based stuff in the game, solo content? Well, then you kind of have to get this VC at some point. You have to max it, and if you don't, you're just not going to be doing as well as other people who are, and that doesn't feel good when you have ranking systems and shit. Anyway, I like this more when it was just like a character problem as opposed to a VC problem. That's been my opinion on most of the stuff going on in Wotv these days, but more on that later. So without getting too down on something I need to talk about in the next video, let's talk about global really quickly. And I do mean quickly because I don't think there's too terribly much to talk about. You have the new VC this week that essentially is, for the new version of Dario. We got it recently as well. And it's fine. It's a good VC for those who want it. The effects, spears is probably the the major thing that you want it for, but is you can stick that with your katana guy on an entire wind team and be happy as a clam. So there it is. Also, the Fire of the Wind releases with the upgrade to the Tempest Ring, and boy, I didn't even do that, so I can't even comment. I just was not in the mood for it. I didn't do it. So best of luck to Globalers who are going to do it. And that's not like a, hey, it's not worth doing. It's just I had other things that I wanted. So that's it for me on JP. Look forward to the second video, which should come out relatively quickly. And I haven't forgotten about Oldoa and other videos. Just kind of something else has been eating up my time. Take a guess what. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. You guys are awesome. Thanks for supporting me, and see you next time.